Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today at the Harmony Hour podcast. My name is Ian Duboe, co-founder of Harmony Home Loans, and we're bringing you today the Harmony Hour, where we're bringing you guys entrepreneurs, business owners, successful people in different industries to add value to your life and gain some insight. The most important thing, guys, we don't run ads on the show. We want to grow organically and share with people. So we would love your support. So if you find value in the show, please share it. And without further ado, let's enjoy the show. All right, guys, welcome back to the Harmony Hour podcast. It's 2024, and we got some special guests here today. So I'm really excited to introduce to you guys our beautiful guests. We have Kayla and Londyn here, who are the co-founders of HoneyBoy Studio. It's a fashion brand focused around women, and I'm excited to share you guys' story today. So without further ado, welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to hear your guys' story. I know it's a new beginning for the entrepreneurship journey, and just like where the brand's going to go next as well, because I'm excited to see where you guys are doing so far. So I appreciate you guys being here. Welcome everyone back to the show, 2024. Without further ado, let's get a little bit started.
Yeah.
Yeah? You guys ready to make it happen? Cool. Well, I want to give the audience just a little bit of background because we met not too long ago again. I know we're friends a little bit, but we met across because there was a pop-up shop that you guys hosted. I saw on you guys' Instagram, and I like to support friends that are in business. And really, when I first went there, I just wanted to support. But a big part was when I first started talking to both of you guys is your guys' energy. You guys were very passionate about what you guys do. You guys knew where you wanted to go next, and I think that's such an important component in anyone's entrepreneurship journey or as a business owner. So I was like, I have to have you guys on the show. There's so much like experience that you guys are going through just in the beginning stages that I always forget about too when I started. So I think that'll be a good thing to add value to the audience. But with that, now that everyone knows a little bit of backstory of where we were going from, I want to hear your guys' story too, because from what I understand, you guys have been friends or best friends for 13 years. And now you guys are in business together, right? Mm-hmm. So how's that happen? How'd you guys get started? Let's hear about it.
That's so funny that you remember that we've been friends for that long, because I feel like that's like a really long time and such an important piece of information that we kind of talked about when I saw you and you came into the pop-up. But we went to high school together. We played soccer together. I think her and I are very similar in certain ways. We're both born in August. We're both Leos, so we understand each other a lot.
You guys have that fire.
Yeah, we're definitely feisty. And,
very feisty and sassy.
Like to lead.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how we met each other. It's how we know each other. And then I think through college, we kept in touch a little bit. She went to school out in LA.
Okay.
She went to FITM. She studied fashion and design and all that fun stuff.
Oh, sweet. So you knew you were getting yourself into fashion.
Yeah, no, I've
age.
known from a very young age. Yeah. So I just like my first memory of loving fashion is I would always go to my mom's closet and I would play dress up with all of her stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just seeing her get dressed up every day, I think that's something that like sparked my interest with fashion. So I knew from a very young age that this is the industry that I want to be in.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then so from there, you were like, okay, I'm going to go to school for this. Do you know where you were going to take it from there? And
so I went to, like she said, I played soccer my whole life, competitive soccer.
What position, by the way? Because I played soccer my whole life too.
I played forward, and then up until my freshman year, I started playing defense, and I was actually really good at it. Yeah. And my dad was so mad because he wanted me to be, like the superstar. Yeah, the goal scorer. And I was like, but Dad, I love taking the ball away from, the people. I love preventing people from scoring.
She was good.
So I never cared to go and play in college, so I didn't take it super serious because I knew deep down, like, the college that I want to go to is FITM, and they don't have any sports teams. Yeah. So I was like, why am I going to go to a school for 4 years and dedicate it to soccer when it's like, I'm not going to go pro. That's not what I want to do. So I went to UNLV for a year because, it was a big commitment. It's a lot of money. It's a big move. So I was like, okay, maybe I can just stick it out. I'll go to UNLV for a year and I'll just do business.
Yeah.
I went there for a year. I absolutely hated it. And I was like, okay, I got to convince my parents. You know, it's been a dream of mine to go to FITM and, you know, study fashion.
Yeah.
So
and that's like a big school that like a lot of people go to.
It's a pretty
for
big
that.
school,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of big ones over in New York, but
That's massive.
I was like, I was such a homebody and I've never moved away, and like I wanted to still be close to home. So I was like, okay, I'll move to LA. I'll go to FITM. Convinced my parents. I just got an associate's there. They didn't have a bachelor program at the time. So I studied product development. So that was my degree. And it was, you're able to study like the business side of the industry and then the creative side of the industry.
Okay.
So I was able to kind of like study.
For fashion. It wasn't like any products. Yeah.
Yeah. It was mainly for fashion.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about my background with that.
Yeah. And you had no background in fashion other than
No.
just dressing well, right?
Yeah, honestly, no. She's always been the fashionista. I feel like she's always been the one to like, I would always text her and be like, hey, does this look right? Or like, hey, what do you think about this? But kind of just to finish the story of like how we met and how we were friends, her going out to school, we stayed in touch. I went to school and played soccer, so that was like important for me, and that was like a priority, was on scholarship. And then I think after college, both of us at one point moved back to Vegas. And so we kind of like started to hang out a little bit more, started to go out a little bit more. She actually started something prior to us kind of doing HoneyBoy.
Okay.
And it was a lot of work, and you can kind of talk on that, but it was a lot of work for one person, and then it was like a lot of work to do like the designing and then like the buying and then like the business side of things. So she just, you know, came to me, and I have a criminology and justice studies degree. I
I don't know how I'm going to apply this.
I literally, don't know anything about like fashion besides like I like certain things and they look good and I wear them because I feel good.
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey, I know. And my kind of role in this is like, I've always wanted to run a business. I've always wanted to own a business. I've always wanted to work for myself. Yep. And that was something that we agreed on. And she was like, I know, you know, you've always wanted to do this, and I really am into fashion. I think we should do this together, and I think we should just go for it and like see what happens and see what comes from it. And I'm like, all right, I'm down.
Yeah. So it was just like a night out. You guys had a conversation. It kind of got together.
It was a process. Like, I think she came to me about it, and then it was like a couple months went by. Like, this was like a year ago. And she was like, hey, this is what I think. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Like, let me think about it. And then like, we were like, okay, like, let's think about it again. And a couple months went by, and we finally were like, all right, let's pull the trigger. Both of us, I feel like we're making really good money. We had good jobs. So we were like, well, we have, you know, the financial part of it to be able to kind of invest. And I feel like a lot of people in the industry that I work in, cocktailing in Vegas, they're like, you have to invest your money. And so I'm like, all right, well, I don't know anything about the stock market, and I don't know anything about like mutual funds or like anything like that. So I'm like, this will be my sort of like investment. And I can kind of learn like the business side of things. Yeah. And then she like absolutely loves fashion, so I can kind of like learn about that too. And she can kind of like learn about the business side. So that's kind of how this came together. But
I think that's important too, because first of all, identifying you guys' roles too, especially in a partnership, is like me and my partner, like we're opposite in many different ways, but it also works together. So if you could come in and bring that value while you bring in the design or the creativity, things that you've learned, then you could apply and then actually create a business at a lot faster pace too. Yeah. So that's very interesting as well. So like why then you kind of told me why like fashion, something you really loved, you liked the business side of it. HoneyBoy Studio then, you had something before and now HoneyBoy. What does HoneyBoy stand for you guys like right now? I'm also curious to why the name too.
Honestly, so her thing was like Londyn Studio. She was like, that's how she started. So I think that's where we got like the studio part. I think, I don't know, studio just kind of adds like a little bit of an elevated name behind it. And then being like a small clothing boutique in Vegas, like I really liked the honey part of it. And we literally sat down for an entire day, like chat GPT. We were like writing on papers. Yeah. We were like, we like this word, we like this word. And she liked the boy part of it. And it was more of like a feminine and then like a masculine like aspect. And also if we were to like ever, I think the name too also came from if we were to ever add like men's clothing, like it has like that kind of like boy in it to where you could wear it, but it's also like kind of sweet. So I mean, we literally went through, it was like an entire day. And then we
whole
didn't even
day,
decide that day. It was like days after that, like
Sat
what
on
would
it.
stick. Yeah. We were like,
Yeah.
here's our top 10. And then I think that was like really the first part too in figuring out, like we wanted the name. We were like, once we have the name, we can then figure out like what product that we want to sell to people.
Yeah.
But until we had the name, we were just like, we were all over the place. Like we had all these like creative ideas and we were trying to implement and delegate everything in like certain areas. But the name was really like the first piece.
That's the staple.
Yeah.
That's the staple. Like, hey, that makes it real. You
Yeah.
know, like you asked like back before we started is, you know, why Harmony? So I'll tell you a little bit of the backstory of that one, but really it came from, we were working at a previous company called Chaos Home Loans. Great name. And we were working there for a few years. COVID happened. A lot of things like unraveled where we didn't want to work for the company anymore. And me and my business partner now, we were both running our own branches in that company. So when we decided to leave, we took our whole team. We knew we were going to start our own company because we built it already within this organization.
Right.
And we did have some beef with the previous owner. And so it was a little petty at the time, but we thought like, what's the opposite of chaos? And we thought the word harmony. I was like, that's freaking perfect. And then it's like Harmony Home Loans. And then we started our slogan of we take the chaos out of home buying. And like that just kind of started from the process of, okay.
Where you were at until where
you
wanted to go.
We used that in our time. We used the fuel to like get something way bigger, but then it became something so much bigger, you know, like cool.
Yeah.
Like the competition doesn't even matter at this point. It's like we have a brand now. People recognize who we are. But the name is such an important part because that's what gave us the flag to continue working every day. Like we have a mission to like create this company, even though we didn't have anything at the time, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. I love your guys' name too. That's why. So it's cool. There's always a backstory behind it.
For sure. You said staple too. And I think that's like an important piece to our thing that we have going as well, because all the products are like staple pieces that you can add to your closet. So that was like something that we wanted to like include like in the name too. So
yeah, I was curious because you guys do like the style, like you guys decided on something that's comfortable but fashionable. And I may say that wrong, but mainly focused on women. You said maybe men clothing eventually. Yeah. But with that, why did you guys choose that route above all else? Because there's so much variety that you could go choose clothing, but why that? Maybe
well,
better
I
question for you.
feel like, so starting off, since, you know, we're a new company, you kind of have to feel everything out. You have to see what your customers like. And I like to tell ourselves that ideally we are our own customers. So it's like, we're pretty much shopping for ourselves. Like we know what girls want. We wanted to start with some like essential pieces, staple pieces. And then we wanted to have
like neutral, natural colors.
Yeah. And then we wanted to play around with, you know, we had some more fashion forward pieces for the girls that are, you know, really trendy and want to be out of the comfort zone. And then we wanted to do, I don't know, we kind of like picked a little bit of everything. So we had our staples, we had our more fashion pieces, we had our more loungewear pieces, just because we wanted to see what really worked.
We don't know who our audience was at that point, so we kind of wanted to get an array of pieces.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Which it's funny because
the pieces that I think we thought were going to do well, like there was other pieces that like to have done really well, and we're like, oh, okay, well, so maybe we need to go more that route, or it's been a learning process for sure.
So an example is there was this black lace dress that I absolutely loved. Did you love it too? Yeah, we saw it and we were just like,
we agreed on every single product that we had in our original collection. Like we did not buy it unless both of us liked it, which I think was like an important factor into that too. And then also like even the girls that were modeling it, like it looked really great on them and they loved it.
It was so funny. They're like, this is my favorite piece. I can't wait till you guys launch. Like this is the piece I'm going to get. We haven't sold one. I'm like,
no
what?
way.
Yeah. Granted, it is wintertime and it's a lace dress. So I'm like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
But it's just
still,
funny.
The marketplace will determine. You know?
And it's changing too. Yeah.
And then there's this green bomber jacket, and we were both kind of like,
oh, this will be fun to like add.
We'll
it's cute, it's soft, and everyone loved it.
That's the one that sold out. And so it's like gone. You never know. So
what goes into like deciding what goes out to the public then, as far as like your pieces, or it seems like you guys both have to agree.
I think that's a big thing.
I mean, it's not necessarily like, oh, we both have to agree. It's just more of like, if we both like it. We both have different styles. So we understand that like people that have similar styles to both of us can incorporate that into their closet. So I think that was like the idea behind that. But we attend Magic. So Magic is a clothing company here in Vegas. They do a convention, a trade show.
Oh, I've heard of that actually. Yeah.
And they have sourcing and project attached to it. So it's like anybody that's starting, like even if you want to start from like the ground up, you can source the product. So you like find the company and then like buy the bulk, have the minimum, put your logo, brand on it, whatever. So we kind of stayed towards the Magic side of things just because that was like more what we wanted to do. But we went to Magic. And it's a 3-day convention or trade show. And we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. I personally had no idea. She had gone, I think,
and you had a booth and stuff? Or,
So no.
You're just going in there just to see
We're
vendors.
buyers. Yep.
Yeah, so Magic is where there's hundreds of wholesale brands that will come. So we come in as the buyers. And, I mean, we're pretty much, just shopping everyone's collections and being able to pick out and come up with our own collection that we want to sell. At our online
So we
store.
did Magic, and we went and picked out a bunch of stuff. And then a lot of the stuff that we picked out, some were immediates because there's like a whole process that kind of goes into that. So some were immediates, which means you like get it immediately. They'll ship it to you after the trade show's over. Some were like, when did we go? August. Some were like September, some were October, some were November. And so we were trying to like, that was another thing, was getting all the product and then being like, okay, well, when do we launch? Like, when do we have enough product to be even able to launch? So I think we pushed the date back like once because everyone was like, oh my God, because we kind of had started like putting it in everybody's ear, like, hey, this is what we're doing. Like we have a clothing brand, like we're super excited, we're going to launch. And then October came around, we're like, oh, end of October. And then we were like, okay, we need to figure out how we're getting these pieces to the public, right? So there's a process that goes into that, which is, you know, scheduling the photo shoot with a photographer to get the pieces on the model so that people can see it. The whole website, that was like an entire thing in itself. I'm like a professional website designer now, if anyone needs anything. So we have a Shopify account, and that was kind of difficult to like figure out how to navigate. So after we had the product photographed, we would put it on the website, and then going through the descriptions of making sure that people knew what this product was. And then for us personally, I think, which is different from a lot of boutiques in general that purchase wholesale, we decided that we wanted to put our own tag and our own like hang tags on it. So we actually made and designed our own tags, and then she actually sewed everything onto the product.
Oh, that's great.
So it kind of makes it a little bit more personalized, but also within that too, like that goes into like why I feel like our pieces are so exclusive and like how much time and energy and effort that we do put into these pieces. So yeah, there's like a whole process of like how and when we like get things to.
And no one taught you guys this. You guys because you guys sounds like you guys just went straight into it and just started getting to work.
We did.
From creating the website to going to meet out vendors, right?
We're still figuring it out.
Of course.
We don't have everything figured out. We're really just like, we have these ideas, and because we like own and do this ourselves, we are able to do whatever we want, which is kind of nice, like to have that freedom and that creative piece of it. But yeah, there's like no right or wrong way to do things, and I think that's like the best part of HoneyBoy. And us together, just like constantly on the phone texting each other, like, oh my God, we have this idea, and she's like, what about this, or what about this, like 1 o'clock in the morning, which
no, for sure.
I mean, we've been friends for so long. We don't mind.
You literally just text me like 1 o'clock at night. It was like, hey, we're doing this thing tomorrow. I'm like, all right.
Like you're just down for it.
For sure. Well, it's yours, you know, it's your baby at this point, right? And you just want to see it grow in fruition and add value and see where you could do it. That's very interesting. I always like to hear, because especially in different industries, I don't know how it really happens, right? And from the outside perspective, like, website looks great, you know, the clothing looks great, but how much work does that actually take into? I mean, you're a business owner, you know how much work goes into 100%, getting something up and running and then failing and then going again. So it's like, what would you say, like, out of that, like, if you were to redo it again, like, what would you learn to get it out, you know? So there might be some things that, like, you're like, okay, like, I could have done that better, right? Or maybe just a different approach to something else. Because I think a lot of people that right now with like YouTube and like social media, like more people are starting their own business, right? I also think a lot of people want to start their own business, and like don't take enough action to do it. Sounds like you guys are doing all action, and that's, you learn through your failures, which I think that's a better route, to be honest, and not be afraid of failure.
For sure.
Because you guys saw the quote, well, over there, it says never quit. Like, the reason that's there is because if you don't quit, you actually don't fail.
Yeah.
So that was a big reason why we remind everyone about that. But that's why I wanted to hear about you guys in regards, like, you know, if you could help someone else out, like, what would you recommend, or any advice to them?
Do you want to explain how, like, what we went through in the beginning of, like, the business license and stuff?
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay.
It's like a whole thing that we, like, didn't realize that if we could have gone back, we would have done differently.
I think it's just take it serious from the beginning. Just always look at it like, if you're going to start a business, just in
Small
your
or big.
mind, tell yourself, like, just treat it like it's going to be a huge business. So when we were starting off, we didn't have like a bank account set up for it. You know,
the basics.
Yeah, like the basic things that you think, and you're like, oh, well, we could just do this later down the road. It's not that big of a deal. It's like, no, wait, it actually is a big deal.
Yeah.
So get your bank account set up. Get your, if you want to do a credit card with your company, get that set up. We went and we used, so I had a business license under Londyn Studio.
The LLC.
Yes. And we were thinking, let's just
we'll
save
just change
money.
the name.
Yeah, we can just change the name and we'll save money, and it will be so much easier. And it was actually a way longer process. Just all, what was it called? Like all the amendments.
The IRS.
We had to like amend the articles.
Yep.
So like we
And
had
it was like
to
adding the owner, changing the
adding
name,
the
and that's a
owners.
fee. And then that's
we
a
should have
fee,
just
and
started
that's a
from the
fee.
ground up, like the new name, the new business, new ownership. But we just figured it still costs money to change it. Like it's just a fee.
Yeah.
But then like we had to go into logistics of mailing a letter to
Nevada.
Yeah,
the
that was a whole thing.
Yeah,
it took
like
forever.
IRS and
Yep.
like
I would say the IRS is the big part. Because
our
you change the name.
EIN number changed because then our business license changed and we added owners and like all those things that like if you didn't go to school and study business or economics or like the basics of like how things work in a business, like you don't know, so you have to learn. And I think that was like a learning process for us for sure too, which took in the beginning a lot of time.
Yeah.
In addition to like the name, that was
Yeah.
like the two things that we were like, oh my God, this is like the hardest part. Like once we were able to like shop and find product that we liked, that we were like, okay, this will sell. We were like, this is the easy part, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's just like always a next step, and there's always like a process to things. Cause then we're like, okay, we have all these great products, and it was like, oh crap, like we don't have any names for them. So then like we went through a whole process of like naming the product,
Yeah.
and that was like a whole thing. We were like, dang, this is kind of hard. Like, and then we would go through names and be like, I don't like that. And then it was like, we had to agree on it. So
Yeah.
I would say like how she said, like really taking it seriously in the sense of making sure you're taking all the right steps to making sure that like the business is legitimate, because it is.
It is.
And when you consistently tell yourself and other people that, I think it even like makes it into an actual like legitimate thing.
Yeah. You guys are the one that are
so-
carrying the flag. You guys are the one that's gonna like make it actually happen. There's no one else doing it.
Even when we went
For
to
sure.
the trade show Magic, and we were shopping around, everyone was like, oh, give me your business card, let me have your business card. And I was like, oh my God, we don't even have
business
business
cards at that
cards.
point.
Yeah.
I was like, we really need to take this more.
So we like
More
went,
serious.
full. And then that's like a whole process too with like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
we were going to go on Alibaba. We were going to like do business cards and like all the product and all the materials. And then we were like, oh my God, this takes forever. And like the people don't communicate very clearly, and they don't speak English very well.
And
And
if you get it
like,
wrong.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to mess this product up. And then like the shipping costs on like, if you do, and then we were like, let's just try Amazon. Let's do this. Let's do this. And like, so we were trying to kind of be cost efficient, but we were also trying to be time efficient. So there's like, I mean,
It's a battle between both.
it's,
Yeah.
you can't have
Yeah.
you can't have all of it. So you kind of have to pick one. But yeah, that was, I mean, it's just anything you do in life. It was a process.
No, for sure. And you learn through trial and error,
Yeah.
realistically. I think that's the best, especially when you're in the beginning, or if it's your first business, like you're going to make so many errors,
Yeah.
and it gets, I wish I could say it gets easier. The things that you've done in the past get easier because you're now just
You're learning from it.
you already know that exists. So you're no longer stressed about something new. You're already acclimated to that level of stress, or that level of like just in general, the feelings that you're getting through any mistakes that you make or any errors, right?
Yeah.
But even now, like we were just talking about it, like it's not gonna get easier. we're still going to get harder, you know?
Well, another thing that we ran into, so we didn't realize how much shipping cost when all these companies were sending us our product. It was like $50 shipping fee. So we're sitting here doing the math and incorporating, coming up with the prices that we want to sell everything ahead of time. And then we're like, oh, wait, I don't think we added the shipping cost.
Well, so we didn't have our business credit card or checking account set up. So we were doing everything through my personal Amex. So, like, I was having to, like, pay attention to to, like, my statements to make sure that, like, everything that we ordered, like, we were, like, splitting the cost of everything and then also incorporating that into how much we priced a product at. Yeah. And then I'm like, wait, on my what is it, the sales receipt or like the invoices, I was like, this company charged us $230, but on my credit card I'm like, it's $250. I'm like, what's the difference? So then, like, we're having to call these companies and, like, figure out, like, they are not charging us taxes because we're getting it from a different state, but they're charging us shipping costs, which we thought when we bought it at Magic, they were like, oh, if you buy this or, like, we're doing a deal, we'll cut the shipping costs, which is why we were like, okay, we'll do that.
Said that too. That's why I was like, we need to write everything
down. Have everything in writing.
We need to have them sign off.
As much as, like, you want to keep your word and do a handshake deal, which at the end of the day, that still holds true. A contract, or when you make a partnership, for example, too, because you guys have to make that as well. It's not to always go to it, but, like, if you have to go back to a contract, we know it's a safety net back there.
Yeah.
But everything else should be trust is the first step, not contract, you know. But still, you have that to everything in writing as much as possible. Emails is a
for sure. The
contract.
emails were like the thing for us. That was like our that was like our Bible. We were like, wait, this person said this. Let's look back and, like, see what they actually said.
Yeah.
And these companies too, like, I realized that we're not their only client, right? Like, they have so many other clients, but they were not on top of things. So, like, us being on top of making sure, like, hey, you said this was going to be sent out at the end of January. It's now February 5th. Like, where's the product? Yep. Or, hey, we received this and this product is faulty. Like, I'm not selling this to people. Like, I wouldn't wear this and I wouldn't buy this, so I'm not going to sell it to somebody else. So then going through the process of having to ship that product back and then getting credit memos, because a lot of these companies don't give you refund. And then, like, we're like, oh my gosh, we've had so many issues with this person. Like, we just don't want to go through them again. And hey, can we get a full refund and then take our money somewhere else to then buy products that we know we're fully confident in selling to people.
No, for
but sure. Like, staying on top of those, like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And we have a business email, so that was really helpful because her and I both have it on our phone. So, like, if I was at work, she would respond because we still kept our full-time jobs. We're not, like, fully, you know, full send head first in the deep end right now, but
it's getting there. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Yeah.
One step at a time, but you'll get there for 100%.
Yeah.
So, like, one thing too, I want to ask, like, what was your first sale? Like, do you remember your first sale?
Yeah.
It was all online, right? Everything, or the pop-up shop.
So we launched at midnight, and our friend Michelle, she bought something exactly at midnight.
So she and I, after talking with her, she actually started her own swimwear line. So she kind of knew what it, like, went into all that. So she, like, had a business LLC. She, like, did swimwear, and so when we told her about it, she was super excited for us. And
I know we've had so much support from friends and family, so
it's been really awesome.
Yeah, no, that's great. Really awesome. No, for sure.
And obviously we work in an industry where we're like, we have all these really great girls that have a really great following, or, like, they're so, you know, like, well versed in stuff because, you know, they've made money and they've invested their money in doing a business, or, you know, like, super pretty girls that, like, model and we're like, oh my God, we want to get our clothes on you. Like, please, like, you know. But, she bought it right at midnight. She bought, like, a Odessa olive green bomber and the Berkeley Prep sweater.
I love that you guys both remember it. Yeah. That's good.
Well, it's, you know, you get nervous when you launch. You're like, is anybody going to buy you? I mean, you obviously hope, but, you know, you kind of set your expectations low. So when we launch and I'm sitting in bed and I'm like, okay, I hope I wake up in the morning and we have one sale, and it's like right away, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We kind of got to the point too where we were like, all right, worst case scenario, if, like, nobody likes what we like and we bought, it's like a win-win because now we get to keep all these cute clothes, right? We're like, we'll just, and then just maybe eventually along the way sell it, and then we'll make a profit, and then we'll just call it quits or whatever, or start over. Yeah. So we were kind of like, it's a win-win because, again, with clothing. We picked it out. We liked it. So we were
Yeah,
hoping
like,
other
we
people
want it.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where it starts. Like if you have a great experience, or if you have something that you like, someone else might be thinking about the same thing, you know, and that's how you can start a business, just like you guys did. So that's really cool. No, I think really what I wanted to talk about too, because like what we do is a lot about like our appearance too. So I wanted to ask you guys if you guys could give any tips for any fashion advice, male or female, in any industry, but like let's just say like as a realtor or as a loan officer, like what fashion tips would you give someone? I also want to ask why it's important to like be fashionable or have some form of style, I guess.
Yeah. I think when you look at somebody and you see that they're well dressed, not that you're judging them, but you're kind of that person gives off a persona or a perspective that they like care enough to pick out an outfit, and like without saying anything, it exudes that confidence.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to be like well dressed or like well kept,
Yep.
I guess. Like you can even go that route if you want. But it kind of like it gives you an idea of how that person is without even speaking to them.
For sure.
And then when you speak to them, like obviously it's like a whole new thing where it's like you said, I talked to you guys and I came and like you guys had great energy. So now it's like even a bonus, in addition to like how well they are dressed. I think too, for me, like being comfortable, and like I've always said that my brother, he's so funny. The first day of school for every single year in high school and college, I helped him pick out his outfit because he just like, I think respects my opinion, and he knows that like I'm well dressed. So he's like, okay, well, if I ask her, like I know I'll be confident enough to like go to school. Like everyone's first day of school is nerve wracking. And my mom too always is like, oh my God, is this cute? Like, cause not that I was like a fashionista, but like I dressed well, and she would always ask me my opinion. And I'm like, are you comfortable? That's like always my first question. Yeah. And I think that's more for like the guy side of things. If I were to give any advice, like, are you comfortable in it? Cause if you're comfortable, it's like that whole saying of look good, feel good, play good. And that's like always something that I feel like I've lived by, especially like playing soccer in college. Like I want to look good, but I want to, cause that's going to make me feel good, and I'm going to go and play good. Yeah. So. No, I love that. No, I think cause for us, I really, fashion has been a big part because my mom's worked at Versace for the majority of her life. So like I've always been around it. But depending on the occasion, you dress differently, give you the confidence for that environment at that time, you know? Yeah. Whether it's in the studio, whether it's meeting a client, whether you need to talk in front of 10,000 people, what you wear is going to bring the confidence, how you deliver it. And so I think people, I think sometimes people don't understand that that's such a key component of being able to deliver your full self in an environment or in a group setting, right? Because you could talk well, you could have things that make you look well too, but how you feel at the end of the day is going to be the most important part, and that's what's going to carry over, just like you said, the energy, right? Yeah, so, for sure. And if we could stack those on, especially if you're in a business meeting, like you want to have that leverage by you being that next person, and then you can see if you walk into a room, 20 people, you can see who's the best dressed or the most kept, right? And you're going to stand out from the rest, you know? So like, for me, it's always about an edge of like, how can I be better? And that's always like my factor, but I think everyone has that same ability too, you know? If they don't know, then they could just start, you know, working with you guys maybe. Yeah. But no, that's really cool. Did you have anything for the fashion?
I mean, I feel like Kayla said it good.
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest thing is like just feeling good in what I'm wearing, because like you said, it does exude a feeling. Yeah. And my biggest thing is comfort. I live in my Adidas sweatpants. Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going out in this. Like, I'm not comfortable. Yeah. I'm like, don't go out in it. Like, whatever. Wear what you want to wear.
So, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. It is funny because I am such like a fashion girly. Like the amount of clothes that I have in my closet.
It's unreal.
But I literally wear my Adidas sweatpants because I'm like, that's what I love.
My go-to. Yeah.
She's so comfortable in them. She's like, I don't even care. Like, I literally look like a bum. Yeah. But we joke all the time. I'm like, if you see me, because at work we have to, we have to dress up. We have to do our hair and we have to do our makeup. Like, we have to like look the part. You know, we have to try. But I'm like, if you see me outside of work, no, you didn't, because it's not me. Like, I just don't take the time to get ready because I'm like so busy doing so many other things. And like we do like the business stuff on our days off. And even like I say doubles, but I'm like, we don't care
Yeah.
how we look.
Yeah.
Essentially, when no one's around, because like as long as we're comfortable, we can get more done.
Yeah, for sure. You don't have to think
So.
about the other things. Yeah,
Yeah.
they come with it.
Yeah.
So a question I have for you guys too. This is more transitioning to like the business side of it, but since you guys got into business now from your previous being friendship, how has that changed in your guys' partnership at all? If so, if it did.
I mean,
yeah.
I would say it's like a marriage. We're married now.
I've known her longer than my boyfriend, and I have been dating, which is also a long time.
I don't know. I would say I feel like we're able to like detach though. Like when we're doing business, it's like, okay, we're focused, we're business partners, but we're able to detach and then just be friends.
Yeah.
You know? I would say communication is the biggest thing. Like she said, we text all day long, every single day.
Yeah.
I know that
Even in like the other side of things, like when things come up too, like we're always like, she's like, okay, wait, I don't like this. And I'm like I'm thankful that she is like,
Just
when something comes up for
Yeah.
her, is transparent with me, like, oh, I don't like this, or like, what do you think about this? Because I thought this. So within the communication piece, like the perspective part of things too,
for
because
sure.
she kind of thinks and does things a certain way, and like I think and do things a certain way, and then we kind of collaborate in addition to that on like how we're gonna move forward and what's gonna make it the most successful, whatever the situation is. But I mean, we were close. I mean, we've obviously been close, I think, before being friends and like going to high school and playing soccer. Like that's kind of stuff that's inevitable. So you have to be around each other.
Yeah.
We now like really wake up and choose to be with each other and like make sure that we're doing everything that we can possible to like make this business successful. We also work together.
Oh, really? Yeah.
In addition to the work that we do now.
So you guys are all
So
day,
we're like, we're always together. But I think
I'm sure you guys get on your nerves a few here and there.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's like sister. Honestly,
it's
it's
like
like sisters. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we know we want the best for each other. And when we are, you know, bumping heads, I mean, it always gets resolved at the end of the day. And I was telling her, I was like, a great advice for, you know, when you guys are when you're going through something with your partner is just meeting up in person and talking face to face.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like texts and phone calls, it's harder to communicate. I like meeting up in person.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a visual learner. So
Yeah.
when we're like pointing things out on a computer or something, or like going over paperwork or finances, it's just better for me to see everything in person.
Yeah. Do you guys have like a structure? Like, you guys are all day together. So similar to me and Nick are pretty much all day together. But do you guys have like a weekly meeting, or is it just like on the bat, something happens?
We go through our schedule. Like she'll be like, hey, this is what my schedule looks like for the week. And then I'll be like, okay, like this is what my schedule looks like. Because in addition to my full-time job and the business, I also have a little one that I watch. So I nanny, and I'm like, hey, this is like what my schedule looks like. So we'll try and find particular dates and times. And then even like I'll bring him with me sometimes too. And I'm like, hey, I got to get some stuff done. So like, you know, give him a snack, he'll watch a TV show or whatever, and we'll be working on stuff. Yeah. So we kind of like go through our schedule for the week, and then we pick certain days that we're like, hey, let's meet up at this coffee shop. We need to get this, this, and this done. And then like, for instance, we're going to LA tomorrow because we're going to go buy some more product, which those trips are always just like fun and exciting because we get to pick more pieces out. But we're like, okay, hey, we have these 2 days free. Like, let's take a trip to LA and plan this. And like, we need to sit down and actually look at the pieces that we want to buy so that our time is maximized
when you're out there.
Going out there, and like we're not wasting any time like dinking around, I guess, like looking for stuff that we don't need, or I
think that goes back to like taking the business seriously. You know, if you can't take it seriously, no one else will, right? Like, so like, what's the next part of the company? What's the growth? What's the vision? You know, how are we going to make that happen? And I agree with you like 1,000%. Because like, even sometimes we catch ourselves, we're like going neutral. Right now, there's just like a lot of momentum, so it's like we have to keep up with like where it's going versus like us continue pushing, or then things happen and we had a little bit of success, and then we're like, oh cool, like things are going great, like let's chill a little bit, and then as soon as that happens, like something else happens, right? And that's just part of business. But yeah, I like the efficiency of that aspect of it. So with that, what's coming up next then for the brand? Is there anything that we should?
I was going to say too, like, because I know you had mentioned like before, you're like, why are you guys' business cards both CEOs
Yeah.
and owners, but we both do everything. Like we don't, like in our heads, I think we have delegated like jobs and responsibilities of what we're supposed to do. Like how I said, she's like more of the fashion side of things. So she keeps up on trends and like what's popular or whatever. And then I'm more of like the business side where I'm like keeping up on like paying the business license every month and like the taxes that we have to do every month or whatever it is. But we do everything. We literally do everything. Like if she's not responding to an email, I'm responding to an email. Or if she's not, you know, making a schedule or reaching out to people for pop-ups, I'm reaching out to people for pop-ups. Like, hey, can we come and like, or if we're not like passing out our business cards or whatever. So we kind of just like, we each know how to do everything so that in the event, like one person is not able to or is busy, like we can take on that.
It's the same for us, and we still wear multiple hats, and I'm sure
yes,
like, until
the multiple hats.
Even if you have like employees, you still wear multiple hats, you know?
We're not ready for that yet. That makes me very nervous, but I think we'll eventually get there, and I think just like anything, you just naturally transition into figuring out how that works. But what's next? I don't know. You can kind of share with everyone what's
next. We have a pop-up coming up. What is it, the 31st? At I don't even know where.
You guys just had one too.
The Hair Standard, right?
We did, yeah. We're trying to, that's another thing too, where we're trying to have like a pop-up schedule. So if we're trying to really hone it, because that's like our bread and butter. That's like really what we found successful. So we're trying to capitalize on that. Having a pop-up schedule. So in our heads, ideally twice a month is what we feel is good right now. So we had one on the 18th. Those are kind of just really good to, even if people don't purchase product, get our name out and then they can see the product and feel it and touch it and be like, okay, I know it's online. I can just buy it later. But we have one on the 31st at the Hair Standard. The hair salons are great. They're
I thought that was a genius idea that you guys are going to. Like, where's like the most?
Because it's catering to our clientele and our audience. A lot of those girls that are either getting their hair done or work there, they wear our product. So.
No, that's awesome. So right now it's still all online, and then plus the pop-up shop. Like, do you guys plan to do like only online, or is it just going to be in store eventually, or
I don't know,
it's too far in the future?
That's something we still,
we
think about.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, ideally we would love, that's one thing that's a challenge right now is we need to figure out how to get more foot traffic to the website. So that is something that we are working on. As much fun as, you know, and successful as the pop-ups are, it would be great to have that same traction with the online store. But I do think it would be nice to have a physical store eventually one day but it's like,
if it works
right now,
the
industry, everybody likes shopping online.
Big time.
You know? So I don't think we're in a rush to get a pop-up store.
I think you like imagine like Shein, you know, like such a large organization that like multiple billions and they're all online.
They're all online. Yeah, that's just kind of where the industry is at right now. I feel like it is kind of taking a turn though, because more people are like, but I do want to try it on and touch it and feel it. So I feel like it is kind of starting to shift. Like I've noticed some of these online stores that have been solely online for years are now having like a flagship store.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see. But right now we're not in a rush. We want to build the website and just build the brand and kind of just see what happens.
I think that's the first step as a brand. Like, what do you guys want to be known for?
Yeah.
You know, because that's what word of mouth happens, right? Besides that, you know, obviously you could do paid ads and stuff like that, but word of mouth is going to be your best bet.
I feel like, everyone is always like, that's the best.
We've tried to with the ads. I think we're just trying to kind of find like our little groove of how that works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
But the word of mouth definitely, like that's also why we were really, in the beginning, it was important for us to like get the clothes on our friends.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, have the following or also have friends that are our audience that we kind of want to get the product out to as well. But
yeah, we're gonna dabble with some influencers, so we'll kind of see how that works. So far we haven't had the best experience, but granted we haven't been paying the influencer, so we're kind of gifting them the product right now. But it, you know, you get what what you get out of it. So it's like they're not gonna make it a priority if you're not paying them.
I have a girlfriend too. She owns like a swimwear here in Vegas, and I've talked to her a little bit like what works. Yeah, Joby. Yeah, Shelby's the sweetest, and her husband Daniel. They're great. They've been so helpful. Just like even Shopify questions or like anything. So, we've had conversations with them on like what works and what doesn't. And she's been really helpful in the sense of like, yeah, if you reach out to them and they're like, don't mind you sending them product, like that's kind of like us sending product is like marketing.
For sure. 1,000%.
So like that's like our marketing budget is like, even though like we're sending them it for free,
it's like that still cost us money for the product.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
You gotta put it out there though. Yeah.
We're doing that. What else are we doing? Pop-ups.
Just getting new product. We have the Magic Trade Show in February, so we'll probably get some fun summer things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm excited for summer.
Making sure we're keeping up with like seasons too. Yeah. What's in.
I'm excited for the menswear. I told you guys.
That too.
Oh,
We've actually had a lot of people.
People
are like, "Where's all your men's stuff?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
I think we're gonna do hats. So we're coming up with a logo right now and a graphic.
Okay.
We're gonna have
we're in the process.
more masculine hats and more feminine ones to cater to the men clientele.
Just to kind of like that's marketing too, just to get it out to people if they wear it.
Yeah.
And then gifting it.
Yeah.
With like if they buy a certain amount of product online, like gifting them a hat.
Yeah. The online is crazy, honestly, because like us as a service. So like online, you could charge someone right away or like deliver something, a physical product. And I just think there's so much more power into that and like so much more capabilities of like being able to get out to the marketplace in such different ways. And you brought up influencers. Influencers massive way to be able to get your brand out there and then provide service, and then you leverage them, or even profit sharing as well with them on that. As far as that specific, you probably looked into it. But yeah, there's so many different avenues. That's where you could take it. That's why I'm just curious, like where you guys' head is at from like moving forward from where you guys are at now, and like obviously it's all progression, but it's also exciting to look forward to what you could do next.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to ask you guys, I'm going to kind of close a little bit, but feel free to ask any questions too. But what's really driving the both of you guys to make this happen? Like, what's actually driving the company?
I think my biggest thing is I've always wanted to work for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to be my own boss. I want to come up with my own schedule. And I think we are both very motivated people.
Yeah.
And you definitely need to be a motivated person to have your own business because, like you said, you're your own boss. You don't have anybody else telling you what to do. But, I mean, I just grew up around that. My dad had his own company. My brother has his own company. My uncle has his own company. Yeah. So I'm like, that's just what I've been surrounded by and what they've been able to do and how they've been able to grow it, and then also spend time with their family. And it's just, I just feel like that's the ideal job for me.
Yeah. The freedom.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's capitalism at its best.
That's literally anything. Yeah. For the freedom of us being able to like spend time if we do decide to settle down and have a family, but you're still making that like residual income.
Yeah. I think it's the best investment you can make is starting your own business.
Yeah.
It's like the best.
Yeah.
It can outperform any stock market.
Yeah,
any
you
mutual
can grow
fund.
it as big as you want. You
exactly.
can keep it
as
small if you want.
Yeah.
So
yeah, not everyone wants to be a huge, massive company,
Yeah.
and not that you have to be there to be successful. You create your own success how you want it, and that's usually how you want your life designed. What does that look like, and then work that backwards. So, but no, that's great. Well, I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah,
this has been really awesome. I've learned a lot of fashion advice as well. But where can people follow you and support you? Obviously the website's a big part. Where is that at?
So honeyboystudio.com is our website. It is attached to all of our social media platforms. We have Instagram and TikTok. We're kind of trying to dabble a little bit more with TikTok. Obviously, I feel like everyone has like their certain ways of how they were successful. So we're trying to kind of find what works and what doesn't for us. But TikTok, Instagram, and then the website.
And then the Instagram is honeyboy_studio.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you guys being on. We'll make sure we'll touch base again. Let's do this again. See where you guys at. And then I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Take care.